So, but the energy from the people, you could just feel it, whether you were walking through the exhibit hall or whether you were doing a radio broadcast on Radio Row or giving a speech. It is on fire. And I think this is indicative of this movement going across this country that we talked about before. And I got to be honest with you, that's one of the things that's encouraging me when it comes to this exploratory committee that I launched 3 weeks ago.
So have you made the decision yet, or just at the exploratory stage?
I'm at the exploratory stage right now, President, because as soon as I become a declared candidate, I become unemployed. You can thank McCain-Feingold for that. Now, the rules are so restrictive for anybody that wants to get in a race who doesn't already hold a federal office. But you know what? I've had barriers put in front of me before, and I don't let that deter me.
Well, certainly, I would have to say that you have a long road to go, any of the candidates do at this point.
Yes.
And I keep seeing that it's just going to get harder and harder depending on what happens. You're a financial person. You were a member of the Federal Reserve out of Kansas City. So let me ask you this kind of a question.
Yes.
Lately I've been hearing a lot from the international markets where China wants to now put their currency as the reserve currency. In the last couple of days we saw the IMF publicly coming out and saying, well, the dollar, not so much anymore. And I attribute that to what's been going on the last couple of years. Do you think that the President's administration is putting us into that situation where, if the dollar is no longer the reserve, we have a lot of dollars?
This administration is putting us in that position, starting with the debt. Because if we had not run up the amount of debt that we have run up in the last 2 years, nobody will be talking about changing to another currency as the reserve currency for other currencies around the world. It starts with our debt. And the fact that we've added nearly $4 trillion to our national debt in 2 years compared to $4 trillion that was run up under George Bush, it is out of control. And the American people know that. And so China is basically testing the waters. They know that they own more of our debt than any other country in the world. Think about that. That's a national security issue. Not only are they own more of our debt, they want to propose their currency as the reserve currency.
Absolutely.
And that is dangerous. Here's how we fight that problem. Bring down the debt and supercharge the economy. Because if our economy is growing at a robust level instead of an anemic level, and the debt is coming down, which is what I would propose doing. Every year it needs to come down and not go up. Guess what? The value of the dollar goes up. And they'll stop this talk about maybe we need another currency.
Now, one of the things that we have seen, you are known as a Tea Party event speaker all over the country. And I think a couple of those events where you spoke here.
Thank you.
We're seeing the effort of the Tea Party movement going past the November 2nd election. We saw it just this past week where the Republicans made their contract with America and said, well, we'll cut $100 billion and then tended to walk away from it. We saw the Tea Party movement, the folks that have been elected by the Tea Party, the freshmen, making their ire and saying, you said $100 billion, we're holding you to it because all of the people behind us with kites are holding us to it.
Yes.
Do you think that may give you an advantage going into the next election cycle or coming into the primary?
Absolutely, because I was speaking at tea parties before tea parties were cool. I started back in early 2009, and the first tea party that I gave a speech at was in Las Vegas, Nevada on April 15th. I was out there to give a professional keynote speech, which meant that they paid me. And while I was there, the Tea Party people in Las Vegas were organizing their Tea Party for April 15th. And so they knew that I was in town and invited me to come over and speak, and I did. And here's what was so encouraging about that. They were expecting 600 attendees. They got 2,600 attendees that day. I said to myself, something is happening. And then when I started to hear about the reports of the other Tea Parties around the country, I said something special is going on. And then with all of the Tea Parties that started to just blossom up out of almost nowhere across the country, people were having them on the 4th of July. They were having them on Memorial Day, all the way up to November 2nd. And the thing that I kept asking myself is all of this Tea Party sentiment, all of this Tea Party energy, is it going to convert itself into votes on Election Day? And it did. Now, those that that are trying to kill the Tea Party citizens movement, and they really can't. They keep saying, well, it's going to go away. It's going to flutter out. Well, I got to tell you, CPAC is an example of the fact that it is not going to flutter out. It's only going to get you.
And on that note, do you think that the movement is strong enough? Because obviously 2 years ago, everybody made it out to be a fringe type of environment.
Yes.
These kooks, they're just talking nonsense. You know, the government has to just keep on rolling the way it is, and the movement got larger and larger.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to help in cutting the budget?
Yes.
Do you think that the mainline establishment Republicans are finally getting the message?
I think that they're finally getting the message because, number one, they've seen the results of November the 2nd. Number two, they've seen what happens if they try to walk away from premises like the ones that you talked about in terms of, okay, put $100 billion on the table. Number three, they have seen that their offices are getting flooded on a regular basis with emails and phone calls because people are much more informed, they're much more involved, and they are paying attention. I believe that many of the Republicans are starting to get it. But the good news is a lot of the liberals and the Democrats and this administration, they don't get it. And you know what? I really hope that they don't until November 2012.
2012. Well, we certainly are coming up on that time when the decision is going to have to be made by you and a lot of other folks that are coming into New Hampshire. We're going to be following a whole lot of people. But one of the things that I saw today, or actually a couple days ago, that struck me, that Pat Toomey, the new senator from Pennsylvania, his headline was, the really smart guys, they knew I couldn't win. And do you think that's going to apply to you as well?
I love that quote. That's exactly what many of them are saying about me. That I basically titled myself the dark horse candidate early last year. I've been called, people have said I don't have a chance. The whole list of naysayers. But let me tell you what I discovered, Skip. When I started floating the idea of running for president or doing an exploratory committee, I would talk to friends and acquaintances and groups in Washington, D.C., inside the Beltway, some of them holding public office. Then I talked to real people, like the people here in New Hampshire, people in Iowa, people in Georgia, Nevada, Arkansas, California, all over the country. The people that I talked to in D.C. all had the same reaction. It's impossible. You can't win. Because they're thinking about the traditional top-down run for office model. Everybody outside of Beltway were encouraging me. What I'm saying is I believe that the electorate, the real people, not the political elite, they are ready for a non-politician to run this country.
Well, we've certainly seen that here in New Hampshire, where the supermajority in the House, 298 representatives, a large freshman class, and all of them, I feel, belong to that, what I've been dubbing liberty and freedom movement, akin to the Tea Party movement. And they are, as they want or were as of old, where you had the citizens out in the field laying down their implements, going down to their state houses, doing their duty, and then returning home. Do you think that model is coming back? So, not so much that we're having new citizens come in and serve, but are they willing to go back? Instead of having the professional politicians that we've been seeing that have given us this $1.5 trillion deficit this year and just running up that deficit.
I believe that model is coming back, and that model is on its way to Washington, D.C. It starts with electing the right conservative president who knows how to focus this nation on the right problems. who knows how to get this nation focused on the right priorities, a president who will surround himself with the right people to put together the right common sense solutions for our problems, and then inspire the electorate to keep the pressure on the members of Congress to do what's right. One of my guiding principles still is that when the public understands it, they will demand it. And there was another little quote that a former senator said, when they feel the heat, they will see the light. And some of them are finally feeling the heat.
Do you think those in the administration, including those that I would be progressive Republicans, getting this message as well? That government is supposed to serve us, not trying to tell us how to live our lives. You see, every time you turn around, this administration is saying, you need to live your life this way, with this kind of car, you need to have this kind of energy, you have to eat these kinds of foods, you have to do certain things in a certain way because we know best. Do you think this American citizenry, come 2012, is going to put up with that anymore?
Absolutely not. They are not going to put up with that. And that's one of the driving forces behind this whole citizens movement. The fact that this administration shoved this healthcare legislation down the throats of the American people. The American people not only didn't need this particular legislation, they didn't want it, but they did it anyway. That's just pure arrogance toward the American people. When Nancy Pelosi said we got to pass it and we can then tell you what's in it, that insulted the intelligence of the American people. And the list goes on. No, the American public is not going to put up with that anymore, which is why I believe that opens up a huge opportunity to someone like me, a problem solver, not a politician.
Well, let me ask you this. One of the dangerous trends that I have seen lately is that Congress is making itself irrelevant. When you look at Obamacare and the Dodd financial bill, there are lots of shalls in there telling the executive branch, you are going to create these regulations. We're not going to do the hard work. We're not going to make all the hard decisions. We're going to say, softball it over, and executive branch, Mr. President, and all of your departments, you are going to tell the American people what you're going to do. Now, if you're president, that sounds like a pretty nice idea. That gives you the imperial presidency. My question is, if you decide to run, and if you were elected as president, certainly having that amount of power, having a more docile Congress in your hand, is that something that you would love or something that you would dread?
That's something that I would love for the following reason. The president is
to hold all that power in your hand?
I would love. Here's why. With that power, if you get the right president, it's a good thing. If you get the wrong president, it's a bad thing. And and secondly, the president's responsibility is to lead. If you got a Congress, see, 535 members of Congress aren't going to put together a strategic plan for America. They can't. This is committee. They're not going to be able to do it. That's why we have the office of the president. The president is supposed to lead. That's what I would do differently. Secondly, the reason that the founders set it up the way they did was that we needed to have a leader. And here's the other big difference between me, if I were president, and the current president, and most of the others. I would be a president of the people, a president by the people, and a president for the people. Let me tell you what I mean by that. A president of the people, I'm one of the regular people because I'm not a politician. A president by the people, a non-politician can get elected because of the people, the citizen movement, the Tea Party movement. That's how I would get elected, not because the establishment pushed me up because it was my turn, and a president for the people. I would truly represent the people because that's the way it is supposed to be. And when I propose some simple ideas, common sense ideas that I think that Congress ought to get behind, I'm going to spend as much time explaining it to the people as I would spend explaining it to Congress, so that the people can build that little heat so they can see the light. That's the difference in the type of president that I would be.
So basically showing people, here's a suggestion. Well, what if they said, we don't want to go that way? What if, I would like to think in this day and age of social media that although it would be filtered, would you be able to hear? Would you have the opportunities to listen to say, okay, I was wrong. I said let's zig, and people said zag.
Oh, absolutely. And here's why. One of President Obama's cabinet members, I think it was Valerie Jackson, said that the president had kind of lost touch with the people. She was trying to basically, explain away why they were having so much trouble rolling out Obamacare. That being president puts you in a bubble. Well, that's true if you don't organize properly. If you basically bring in 36 or more czars on top of 15 cabinet positions, you created a bubble for yourself. Nothing gets done. They don't know who's in charge. He can't make all of the decisions. By me making sure that we have the right priorities and the right problems, and I've surrounded myself with the right people, and we've got common sense solutions and plans that we want to execute, I don't have to stay in the bubble. My job would be to be out, stand in touch with the people. That's the president's job, not allowing himself to be put inside the bubble.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Cain, for stopping by with GraniteGrok.com, New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site. Taking a few minutes, because I know that there are a number of people who would love to have a few words with you, and I feel very privileged at this point